Welcome back to the Course from Agents podcast. Today we are talking about a small model doing something that most big models can't.
Yeah, Cohere Labs just dropped Tiny Aya, 3.35 billion parameters, 70 plus languages, and it runs on a phone. This one is actually interesting. I like talkie talkie things.
Yeah, okay, so right off the bat, lots of models claim to be multilingual. What makes this different?
So the key difference is priority. Most models train on English, maybe toss in some Chinese, Spanish, French, and then list 100 languages on the spec sheet. Tiny Aya flips that. It is built from the ground up for languages that usually get ignored.
Languages like what? Give me some examples.
Bengali, Tamil, Telugu, Urdu, Gujarati, Yoruba, Swahili, dozens of African and Southeast Asian languages that barely show up in most training data. These are languages spoken by billions of people that frontier models basically treat as an afterthought.
And it actually performs well in those languages, not just technically supports them.
That is the thing. On the WMT 24 translation benchmark, Tiny Aya beats Google's Gemma 3 4B in 46 out of 61 languages. That is not a close race. That is decisive.
Wait, and Gemma 3 is a bigger model, right? 4 billion versus 3.35 billion?
Exactly. And the gap gets even more dramatic when you look at math reasoning in African languages. Tiny Aya scores 39% on the global MGSM benchmark, Gemma 3 gets 17%, QN3 gets 6%. A smaller model is more than doubling the competition.
That is wild. So how are they pulling this off with fewer parameters?
The tokenizer. And honestly, this is the most underappreciated part of the whole release. Tiny Aya has the most efficient tokenization across the majority of evaluated languages.
Okay, break that down for me. Why is the tokenizer matter so much?
So imagine you are writing a sentence in Bengali. A typical tokenizer might chop every Bengali word into 5 or 6 subtokens, while an English word gets 1 or 2. That means a Bengali user's 8K context window is effectively a fraction of what an English user gets.
Oh, so the model technically supports the language, but gives you way less room to actually use it.
Exactly. Tiny Aya fixes that. Fewer tokens per sentence means lower compute cost, faster generation, and more content fits in the context window. It is a cascading advantage.
So they didn't just release one model, though, right? There is a whole family.
5 variants. There is a base pre trained model, then a global version that is balanced across all 67 post training languages, and then 3 regional specialists: Earth for African and West Asian languages, Fire for South Asian, Water for Asia Pacific and European.
I like that approach. A researcher working on Yoruba gets a model that actually prioritizes Yoruba instead of treating it as language number 97 on the list.
Right, and the whole thing runs at 32 tokens per second on an iPhone. You can download it through Aoyama and run it completely offline.
That is huge for the actual use cases here. We are talking about places where you might not have reliable internet.
Exactly. A health worker in rural India who needs real time translation between Tamil and Hindi, a researcher in Nigeria analyzing Yoruba documents. These are not hypothetical. These are the specific gaps that a model sitting in a US data center does not solve.
Now I have to ask the cynical question. Cohere is reportedly heading toward an IPO. Is this partly a strategic play?
Oh, absolutely. Open weighting a capable multilingual model at this size seeds the ecosystem. You build community goodwill, attract multilingual developers, and create a pipeline of people who might eventually need your commercial products. It is smart business.
But that does not make the technical achievement less real.
Not at all. They also launched something called Expedition Tiny Aya, which is a mentor supported research challenge to get the community building on top of these models. So they are investing in the ecosystem, not just dropping weights and walking away.
Whereas Tiny Aya falls short, it can't be the best at everything at 3.35 billion parameters.
It is not. For English centric tasks, coding, or anything that needs long context, Gemma 3 and QN3 are still better choices. The context window is only 8K tokens, which is small by current standards. And if you average across all languages on general quality, Gemma 3 27B still wins. But that model is 8 times larger.
So it is not trying to be the best model, period. It is trying to be the best model per parameter for people whose languages have been left behind.
That is exactly right. And for 5 billion people worldwide, that matters a lot more than another point on an English benchmark.
Great way to put it. That is Cohere's Tiny Aya, 3.35 billion parameters, 70 languages running on your phone. Thanks for listening, and we will catch you on the next one.
See you next time.